IHRA has a home here just off Broadway. The city that never sleeps has nothing on Leicester, New York. A Big Apple-sized speed palace resides in Western New York, and big things happen here. New York's own Raceway Park leaves Park Avenue in the dust. Get ready for an explosive weekend on TNN, coming up next. Texas isn't the only state that does things big. Consider New York, Niagara Falls, the Yankees, and the Empire State Building. What a perfect place for a drag race, especially for the mountain motors of Pro Stock. These 800 cubic inch beasts need a solid foundation to put all that horsepower to the ground. And nobody in this class knows foundations better than the asphalt king of New York, John Montecalvo. Hey, New York even has big hairy monsters, don't they?
King Kong, he was a big monkey, wasn't he? But he has nothing on our racers than Top Fuel. The race to the top of the standing is moving faster than any climb to a tall building. This championship is going to go down to the last event in Shreveport. And earning points in the middle of the summer on a hot, sticky track can be tough. Who's going to make it to the top of the tower and who's going to fall off? We're going to find out soon. Aaron Pulburn, how's your view from the Door Slammer pit area?
Well, Tommy, the view down here is fine, but the picture in Pro Modified, it is unbelievably fuzzy. This car right here has dominated the last 3 IHRA national events, and because of that, the International Hot Rod Association has essentially changed the rules to try and add a little parity to Pro Modified. But what's happened? This car barely qualified. It's in the 14th position. Typically, it's number 1. You add to that the fact that Quayne Stott has formed a formal protest against a number of the supercharged cars. It's pretty wild down here. You think the Rick Lazio, Hillary Clinton Senate race is going to get ugly? It's a cakewalk compared to what you're going to have here in Pro Modified.
And the time to start is right now. We're in Leicester, New York for the CarQuest Empire Nationals. A great spot for a great race, and TNN is reinventing great drag racing. We will bring you every pro class from beginning to end every single week. No one else can say that, and no one else is doing it. First up, Pro Modified, and we're going to have it all for you when we come back. There's a great war going on here, and both sides of the Warriors will explain it when we come back.
We run what we call a supercharged motor. What this really does is when we open the butterflies, it lets the air get in, mixes with fuel, gets compressed going through the blower, gets distributed in the manifold. And the more pressure we can run and the more fuel we can burn, the more power it makes.
These engines produce probably 1,800 horsepower on nitrous oxide. When you don't have nitrous on, it's got probably about 1,200 on normally aspirated. I particularly like a nitrous oxide because I don't know anything about a blower engine.
This portion of the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series is brought to you by Mopar Parts, the Mopar difference.
Quayne, you qualified number 1 at this event. Fabulous job, but how'd you do it?
Wouldn't the rest of the nitrous field love to know how I done it? You think I'm telling that on TV? No way, baby.
You know, on the flip side, you've also filed a formal protest against some of the supercharged cars, including Johnny Rocca. Why'd you do that?
Well, they was a rule change made to offset the rule change that was made 3 years ago to give them an advantage. And they made a rule change, and they think they found a way around this rule change. But I protested all the blower cars that's doing this, and I know who they are, and it's going to be a protest. The money's put up, it's a legal protest, and I don't want to run at a disadvantage. I'm running legal, so they should have to run legal.
This weekend has been he said, she said, posturing back and forth. How does that work on you mentally?
It's having a very, it's really tough on me. They insinuated that Johnny Rocca would cheat. That could never be. My pride and my self-esteem in this world, I could never, ever do that. All we did is work well inside the rules, and we're going to prove that later on today. But it's having a very, very detrimental effect on me and my mental attitude towards drag racing.
Wow, what a big story we have brewing as far as rules in Pro Modified. This one's going to be interesting. Here's the points. Fred Hahn, who qualified poorly here, has a 164-point lead over Ed Hoover. 5th and the points, Quayne Stott is your #1 qualifier here in New York. Quayne and his brother Mitch, the subject of our Mopar Presents feature.
You know, right now the pits are full of rich people that pay to have this stuff done. And, you know, and now that we got a sponsor, could do that, but I just think the way we was raised.
Brothers Quayne and Mitch Stott were raised to race. We credit their father for teaching them how to work for the win.
That's the fruit, you know, right there, is when you know that you had at least probably a 70% responsible for what this car is doing. And you know you've taken this mechanical, uncontrollable thing and you've controlled it to a degree.
But there's no controlling these two. The Stott brothers' passion for Pro Mod is evident even when they're tearing up the same track.
We've met in eliminations, be it IHRA or be it other sanctions or outlaw races 3 times this year. And yes, I've fortunate enough.
So maybe I do need to go back over and look at his notebook.
These Carolina boys may not be sharing secrets, but they're quick to admit they share the same goal.
My goal in life was to make my daddy proud. And I think he sometimes is proud. He still tries to hide it, but I think he's proud, so that's one goal accomplished.
Well, I could never be any prouder than I am of both of them, really. They're basically good boys. They're honest. They work, and they love racing, and so do I. Couldn't ask for anything any better.
All right, let's get to the Pro Modified brackets, Tommy.
Boy, Quayne Stott running really well this weekend. Takes on the number 16 qualifier, Tommy Mooney, in the first round. Mooney, the big loser on this, switching from nitrous to a blower car just as they switched the rules.
There's Tommy Mooney right there in front of you on the right lane, and the left, the Leeboy Corvette of Quayne Stott. Stott with the better jump, and at the far end, Stott just puts him away. Handily, 638, 221. He's your winner. On to the next pair. Ronnie Hood up against Fred Hahn, Tommy.
Fred Hahn leading your points, but having to adjust to the rules this weekend. 421, great reaction time to a 475. He's overcoming those rules and pulls out a victory. A 645, beats a 643. Won it on his drive, and that's why he's leading the points.
Harold Martin on the left. He doesn't even care about the rule change. That's an ejected car. No problem as far as he's concerned with the rules. He's going to get the win anyway because the competition, Bartunik, red lights. Now, Pat Moore up against the Vipers, Shannon Jenkins. On your right, the blue and white machine.
Big hole shot for Shannon Jenkins, 458 to a 484 light. And Shannon Jenkins pulls it out, and the light reaction time wanting the round. 2 hole shot victories first round.
We've got plenty more Pro Modified coming your way when we come back. In fact, the top supercharged qualifier, Troy Critchley, started the day 11th quick. Can he whip the Bottle Rockets? Back to the action with Pro Modify. Well, Fred Hahn is out of the competition. The points leader, the other blower car in the field, lost to Troy Critchley when he red lit. Now, Harold Martin, the fuel-injected car, is still alive. Shannon Jenkins in that blue and white Viper, he's a nitrous car. He's still running hard. And Quayne Stott, the Leeboy Corvette, the other nitrous car, still in the hunt. Let's get back to the action now as Troy Critchley goes up against the Viper of Shannon Jenkins.
This is the blower car versus the nitrous car, the controversy all weekend. Let's see if Critchley can pull it out for the blower car, the only one left in the program.
Well, he gets him off the line.
Boy, both cars making a nice straight run down the quarter of a mile, and it is Critchley who wins it on a hole shot. It's the driving, not the horsepower, to get them the victory.
Wow, what a great pass, and Johnny Rock is dancing.
Boy, the controversy is flying.
Harold Martin, the fuel-injected car, up against Quayne Stott, another nitrous car.
Quayne Stott has been impressive all weekend. Every run has been spectacular. And he's, look at his driving, 498 against Martin's 562. Martin having some problems. Quayne Stott pulling it out to a 640 victory, 219.
Well, Quayne, number one, you're running the guy that you protested.
That's right. And he's wrong. He's illegal, and I'm still going to outrun him. I'm going to outrun him. I can be legal and outrun him illegal.
Johnny, in the final, you're taking on the guy that at the beginning of the day filed a formal protest against your car. Incentive?
You bet. All I want to do is beat that man. If I can beat that man, and then they can come over here and take that transmission apart to their heart's desire. That transmission in that car is 100% legal. Johnny Rocca is 100% IHRA legal.
That's 100% of a hot battle going on between those two, and a good race getting set.
I think you can those interviews, Ralph, there's a little more on the line here than a event championship.
Absolutely. Troy Critchley right there in the Iron Horse, owned by Johnny Rocca, getting ready to go do battle against Quayne Stott, the Levoy back Corvette.
Quayne's saying that there's something funny about Johnny Rocca's transmission and how he's interpreting the new rules and gear ratios. Oh, a deep stage by Troy Critchley trying to get an advantage on the starting line, but it's Quayne Stott that puts the hole shot on Critchley. You can see pull away, outstanding run for Quayne Stott. A great weekend, and I guess we'll see now who was cheating and who wasn't.
Boy, no denying that pass. Incredibly strong run by Quayne Stott. That put the exclamation point on any argument right there.
Illegal and I still outrun him.
Get out of here. Is this sweeter than Rockingham the first time?
Yeah, because everybody thought that was a fluke. You got to do it twice to make them realize you're here and we're here to stay.
Now, you know right now your dad's coming down here in a golf cart. He's dialing the cell phone already. How are you going to pay for all those phone calls?
I'm going to pay it, but every round he calls about 50 people, I think. I hope he's got one of those plans where it don't cost much.
Congratulations. Outstanding weekend.
Hey, we enjoyed it, and thank IHRA and everybody in Levoy Paving Equipment.
Vaughn Smith won 4 consecutive races at the end of '99 on his way to another championship. He couldn't buy a win to begin 2000, however, but the Nitro Fish gang has it together again with back-to-back wins. The Funny Car Face-Off begins on the other side, and you will see the finals before the next commercial.
Dale, people will say that driving a funny car is the most difficult car to drive. Why is that?
These things are a handful. They're all over the track. You got to changing gears. You got low gear ratio on them, and they like to move. They're a lot of fun to drive.
As you're approaching a starting line, what does it look like?
Keeps you pretty focused right down the track. You got a narrow point of view. It's about as strange to look as the sight of this cameraman sitting inside that car, but no, it's kind of a tunnel vision. Pretty difficult to see the guy beside you. In fact, you don't see him unless you're out on you.
Let's take a look at the points for Funny Car. Vaughn Smith has a 29-point lead over Scott Wenny. Jimmy Rector sits in third. He's your number 1 qualifier here. Rob Atchison didn't make the show here in Leicester. Tommy, how about the brackets for Funny Car?
Well, Jimmy Rector trying to make a comeback in points, qualified number 1 this weekend. Scott Wenny, number 2 in points, qualified number 2.
Up with the first pair, Vaughn Smith and Scott Wenny, 1 and 2 in the points. The Nitro Fish on the left, and Vaughn Smith in the Nitro Fish, quicker off the light.
Got out of shape a little bit off the starting line, and that cost him, Ralph, as Scott Wenny will take the win. Your points leaders out of here first round.
Now Jimmy Rector on the left side of your screen up against Zeller right there in front of you. Zeller is quicker at the light, but at the far end of the racetrack, Rector just powers away and picks up some valuable championship points. On now to semi-final action. Wenny on the left, Terry Monroe on the right.
Boy, what a light for Wenny. 452 to a 494. That's what's been winning him all these drag races, a starting line advantage, and it has done it again. A 596 beats a 595.
Rector back to the left lane again, this time up against David Rowe.
Oh, Rector is dead late, a 636 light. It would be hard for him to overcome an advantage like that, but he does it and pulls out the victory, and he had to run a 589 to do it.
Boy, and they tuned that car well. Now let's see how they can tune it for the finals. Rector in the same lane he's been utilizing all day today. And Wenny, Tommy, he's been strong at both ends of the racetrack, whereas Rector, we've seen him asleep at the lights, but able to pull it out at the far end. But I don't know if he can afford to try that up against a guy like Wenny who's been so strong at the lights.
Well, Scott Wenny has been winning all of his races on hole shots, where Jimmy Rector's been winning it on horsepower performance. So the final round may come down to the starting line or who has the fastest car. We're going to see real quick.
Oh, look at Wenny. A 412 reaction time. Hard to make. Oh, and Wenny just blows the body off. Wow, I mean, you never see that in an alcohol funny car race.
Boy, something going very wrong for Wenny. Had a big advantage of 400. His perfect light. He had a 412. Blowing the body off.
And he thinks he won.
He thinks he won the race.
Watch this. There goes the body. And I'll tell you what, at that point in the race, when he was right, he did have it won. But those chutes coming out, Tommy, as early as they did, slowed him down just enough. And Rector was able to catch him just at the finish line.
Well, when the body comes off, it pulls the chutes out of the pack, slowed the car down enough where Rector got around him. That's what he needed to get the victory done, with Rennie having a 412 reaction time. So, boy, that's a big explosion. Maybe Rennie was just celebrating to be okay in that car, not a victory.
I could have swore I got there first.
When did the body come off, Scott?
Right after it bagged the blower.
Unbelievable.
What a way to win.
The big man does it again.
Yeah, I sort of let off. We side by side, and all I seen was sparks and fire, and I was sort of worried for him. And, you know, that's why I stopped early where I could get out, because I didn't know how major a fire he had. But, you know, I hate it for him. But we finally shook the tires this weekend. I might have been a little bit in trouble, but this crew's worked their tail off. And
look out.
But, you know, we needed that for the championship points. I mean, the air sort of changed, and I wasn't going to put fuel in it, and I took a gamble, but, you know, evidently he did too, because he blew the body off. And as long as he's all right, and, you know, that'll be a good race. And this for Holbrook Performance Parts, this is 2 this year. They've been wanting 1, so, you know, this championship's way from being over.
Well, Winnie also blew the top off the points lead. He's a new points leader now. The danger that is Nitro Harley. The points race is becoming tighter as we reach the halfway point. Team Bulldog still has a leash on the top spot, but Team Mancuso is looking to knock.
Well, you really can't steer the motorcycle with the front end, because hopefully on a good pass, the front end's in the air. So what you want to do is, if the bike's going to the right, if it's pulling to the right, you got to get your body off to the left and lean. And then, of course, if it's going to the left, you got to get the body over to the right and lean. Front wheel will be high in the air. That's why you kind of see the guys dragging their feet a little bit, getting their balance for the first couple 100 feet down the track. And then hopefully, you know, you get settled in a good position, get the feet on the pegs, punch the thing into high gear, get into that nice tuck, hopefully go about 210 mile an hour, somewhere in the 640s, and you'll be a winner.
Screaming Eagle Nitro Harley points. Let's take a look at how they stack up. Coming into Leicester, Jay Turner with a really healthy lead over Johnny Mancuso and Steve Storter. Doug Vansel and Bill Furr round out the top 5 in the Nitro Harley points. Tommy, how about the Screaming Eagle brackets?
Let's see how they stack up today. Jim McClure up against Jack Romine in the first round. Mancuso qualified number 3 up against Mike Romine first round. Turner will take on Bill Furr, and Storter will take on Vansel.
Time for two-wheeled action here with the Summit Drag Racing Series. Romine with the jump. And the win will go to McClure because Romine had problems about half track.
Bill Furr up against points leader Jay Turner.
But the Bulldog has been so strong, hasn't he, Tommy? Jay Turner, again, a better light than Furr. And watch Turner just put him away all the way down the track. Turner with the win, a 668, 206 miles an hour.
Boy, even when the bike doesn't run, Jay's there as he's driving, and that's why he's leading the points in Nitro Harley.
There's Doug Vansel in that Drag Specialties Vance and Hines bike. Steve Storter in the right lane.
Team Mancuso, smoking the tires. Storter. Vansel is streaking away to a victory. Nice straight run. Look at it carry the front end on the other end. 672 getting the victory.
Well, Storter's teammate Johnny Mancuso there right next to you in the left lane.
Oh, and an identical thing happened. Team Mancuso, both of them smoking the tires. Mike Romine will take the victory, and both Mancuso bikes are out in the first round.
We have no cages, we have no chute, we have no roll bar. We take pretty big risks out there. I feel that one day we'll be rewarded real well for the risks that we're taking.
It could be argued that with 25 world records to his name, Bob Spina has already been rewarded for life in the fast track.
The way I could describe it is you could only think 3 things in 6.5 seconds. You're going straight, you're in the middle of the racetrack, here comes the end. That's all you can calculate and think in your mind.
This New York native has spent the last 19 years thinking about Nitro Harleys on and off the track.
There ain't nobody that goes home and leaves those motorcycles alone and takes it out at the next event. That ain't how it goes. And that's the kind of commitment it takes to run at the level that we're at.
It's that kind of commitment that's kept Spina scoring in the sixes. So it's no wonder a mere thought of a 5-second pass keeps him and his crew motivated.
It will happen. It will happen. It's years away, but it's headed in that direction.
Whether his Purple Harley is the first to make the 5 remains to be seen. But Bob Spina determined to try.
That's where I got to be. However I got to do it, that's where I got to be with the throttle open in the middle of that shutdown area. So we just stay focused, and that's all you can think about, and that's all that makes any sense at that time.
And what is Nitro Harley Racing top Bob Spina about life?
Respect for people, work ethic, rewards for hard work, goals, setting goals, meeting those goals.
Mike, you guys often have your feet off to the side, sometimes actually drag your feet. What style of boot do you use?
Well, I've spent a lot of money over the 17 years of riding a Top Fuel Harley in boots, and I've kind of come to the determination that a $150 pair of boots doesn't last any longer than these nice Walmart specials here. They pay about $29.95 and you can get 2 or 3 races out of them.
This portion of the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series is brought to you by Mopar Parts, the Mopar difference.
At the Magic Mile in July, Tony Stewart made the competition disappear. Find out who's got the magic touch and the Duralube 300, sponsored by Kmart. September 17th, 12:30 Eastern on TNN.
The truckload sale is on now at Blythe Safe.
Time for semifinal action in the Screaming Eagle Nitro Harley. Jay Turner, the Bulldog, is still alive. Doug Vansel on that Vance and Hines Drag Specialties bike, still up and running. Jim McClure, he's still getting at it. And so is Mike Romine, as he is the 4th player on that yellow Screaming Harley of his. The IHRA Summit Drag Racing Tour continues with the Screaming Eagle Nitro Harleys. 58-year-old Jim McClure in the far lane, points leader Jay Turner in the near lane.
You see what Turner did, Ralph. He rolled the starting line lights, got a whole shot advantage, really lucky not the red light there, and pulled out the victory.
Now Doug Vansel in the near lead against Mike Romine on the yellow bike on the far lane. Romine gets a jump in the lines, but Vansel just puts him away.
Romine smoking a tire. Vansel 662 will get lane choice for the final round.
Doug, this is like old times.
Kind of, I guess. We're finally getting the drag specialties, Vance and Hines Top Fuel Harley, to run some numbers and stick to the track.
Do you remember how to win? It's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been yes, it has been a while. I don't know how long, but it has been a while. And I think I can figure it out again.
Well, Jay, I think the expression is, this dog can hunt.
Well, we've been struggling this weekend. We're just trying to go rounds, and fortunately for us, we've been lucky enough to advance to the finals. Now, we're still looking for that little gremlin that's in there somewhere, and we can't find it. But that was, when you run 670s and can win rounds at this deal, you know your days are numbered.
You know, but you were running 670s, but you also cut a 425 light, which is pretty phenomenal. When you know that you're down on power, do you get more jacked up knowing that you're going to have to basically try and weld the guy to the tree?
That's part of it. You got whatever it takes to win the race. That's the bottom line is, no matter how ugly it is or whatever, when you look at that ticket at the bottom, if it says W, you know it's been a good day. So. I know we're down on power, and I'm trying to turn it up on the tree. I'm going to try to do it again in the final. Right now, that's our only hope.
Well, that was a first for this season on the Summit Drag Racing Tour. Jay Turner saying he's down on power.
Well, he can really take a points advantage here with both Mancuso bikes out in the first round. Turner, this final round is very important to him, but he's got somebody thinks it's very important to them too, Doug Vansel.
There's a good look at Doug Vansel. That Drag Specialties, Vance and Hines bike, and the Bulldog himself, Jay Turner, who has a commanding fight on the points lead.
It'll be interesting to see what Turner does on the starting line here. Last time we saw him kind of roll the lights, real lucky not to red light doing that. Once again, a huge hole shot for Turner. Down on horsepower, he needs the reaction time advantage, and he got it. They pulled it out to a victory, a slower 663-1 over a 659. You might want to call this the hole shot nationals.
There's a lot of guys that'd love to have that power, though, wouldn't they? Even if it's down. Turner, I don't know. I'm still looking for the down in horsepower. He still powers to 209-mile-an-hour pass for the win.
You know what, Jay Turner? You've won a lot of races. You won a world championship. I don't know if there's anyone more sweeter than this one today. You worked for this one.
This trophy is going to Whitsett, North Carolina. Yes, we worked hard for it, you know, but some days I got to win races, and some days Bobby's got to win races. And today was just my day.
You know, I was told that you actually have a bulldog, a real bulldog for the winner's circle. Is that true?
Yeah, my uncle's here, my mom's brother, Dempsey, and he's got a bulldog. He's going to be in the circle with us.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, with you took another major shot right today towards your second world championship.
You know, we're working hard for it. You know, it's important to us, and we want it real bad. This would be some justification to winning the first title. And it's just sweet, you know. I think sometimes when you earn them like we did today, it just makes them that much more special.
John, these people in New York are door slammer crazy. They were just going nuts over Pro Stock. You've been racing here all your life. Why is that?
I don't know, Aaron. I think it probably boils back to the days of street racing, Deer Park Avenue, Connecting Highway, all that. I mean, that's what everybody can most identify with. They can go to their Chevrolet showroom, Ford showroom, and buy a car and have something that, you know, it's 13-second street car, something like that. I think it boils back to that. I don't know.
My dad was really good with his hands. Could have been a surgeon if he wanted to.
Half the season has flown by, and the Pro Stock points chase looks to be a down-to-the-wire proposition. Ron Miller's recent winning streak has him atop the point standings, but John Yoke is only 8 points behind. The Zitco Monte Carlo, piloted by John Montecalvo, is 15 points out of first, and Steve Spies, Miller's Moser teammate, is in the hunt, even after a bad wreck at Rockingham. We won't know how this shakes out until Shreveport. Here is the points after Cordova. Miller on top, but only by 8 over John Young. What a great point battle we have brewing. Pro Stock in the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Tour. Tell me about the Pro Stock track.
Tommy Lee coming here today, #1 qualifier, go up against Killenham. First round, 16th qualifier. A lot of Ford versus Chevy matchups. You see where your favorite's at. Let's see how they did.
All right, Tommy, let's start off with the first pair. Gene Wilson in the yellow car in the left lane. Up against Spies in the black machine, who is a little slower off the line. And it looks like the win is going to go to Wilson, putting Spies away. That'll hurt him in the points. Now Carl Baker up against John Yoke's Ford. And the Summit car gets to jump in the lights.
What a nice tight race route right down to the finish line. Baker getting the win, 674 to a 674. The starting line advantage got him the win.
So the Thunderbird is victorious.
Without the support of the family business, I certainly couldn't be here.
John Montecalvo not only races Pro Stock, he runs a family asphalt business that allows him to race.
It started with my brother and myself, and my dad coming in about 2 or 3 years later, and that's when things really started to take off.
And take off they did. Montecalvo is now known as the Asphalt King of New York, and he's a contender for the 2000 Pro Stock title.
We're committed to what we do, and same thing with the asphalt business. We wouldn't have got to where we did unless we were committed, and we're fully committed over here.
But being successful in 2 different situations can't be easy.
It's hard to bounce back and forth between being successful with business, being successful racing, but back home, I've got a great group of employees. I'm confident when I go away racing and everything's being handled. And the same thing as far as when I'm racing, I know I'm with capable hands over here too.
Why is it so important to Montecalvo to juggle a full-time job and full-time racing?
I guess it's my deep-sea fishing. I guess it's my golf. Yeah, it is my hobby, definitely. I've tried playing golf. I've tried different things, and I'm always thinking about what's going on back home with the business. Drag racing, you can't think of anything else but drag racing when you're out there doing it.
And right now, John Montecalvo is going to think about Carl Baker. That Summit Thunderbird's been pretty quick. Montecalvo quicker at the line with a 472.
His concentration level was right there to take the victory and go to the final round once again this season.
He's got that Zitco Monte Carlo running awfully strong. Tom Lee now getting set to go up against Miller, and Miller's quicker at the line.
Big hole shot for Ron Miller. He's really been on a streak here late, winning races. races. He'll go to the final round again with a whole shot victory over Tommy Lee.
So the Citgo Chevy getting set to go. John Montecalvo lays a little rubber down on that strip of asphalt. And Miller does the same thing with his Chevy. So an all-Chevy final here today in Leicester, New York, as Ron Miller brings his Miller machine up against the Citgo Chevy of John Montecalvo.
Well, Ron Miller's really been on a roll. When you're on a roll, you really can't do anything wrong. Everything seems to go right. That's been going on for Ron Miller. We'll see if they can keep it going this round here in the final round.
It's Miller off the line first.
Big hole shot route for Ron Miller. He'll take the victory with a 672 over a quicker 669. I'm telling you, this is the Hole Shot Nationals.
Unreal. Unreal.
Ron, I believe they call this the zone.
I guess that's what it is. I tell you, the Lord's blessed us really great these last 3 races. I got the best crew in the business. Greg Moser, Moser Engineering, they've really called some good shots this time. All I do is drive this thing, but I owe it all to them.
You know, that's all true, but you did tattoo John to the tree.
Oh, really? I don't know. I just know he's a great racer. That's all I know. And I know it's, you know, we got him this time, but shoot, you could put a blanket over both of us.
Bruce, we often describe these things as rockets, and why not? They have wings on the top, and the adjustment of that wing is critical before every round. How do you have that wing set going into the first round here today?
What we do, we'll go back and look at the runs, you know, earlier this weekend, and generally the runs we run this weekend was under a cloud cover, so that means the track wasn't as hot. You know, so we'll go out and look at the track right now, right before we go out to run, and we'll probably put just a little bit more wing in it than we have before yesterday. You know, so and then we'll make the final decisions when we come around, you know, in the staging lanes, and we'll take one more quick look, and we'll either go with what we did or make the final adjustment right there.
And on TNN Sports.
The black flag has fallen, and it falls for Bruce Litton. The Wicks Warrior won the Emily Oil Summer National Top Fuel event, only to leave Cordova in second place. Why? Oiling the track cost him points and cold, hard cash. The wallet is lighter, and Paul Romine is your leader. Here's the points as they stand going into round 5 of Top Fuel. Let's check it out as we get set for more from the CarQuest Empire Nationals. Romine on top of Bruce Litton, Clay Milliken, Shirley Muldowney, and Jim Bailey, rounding out the top 5 of the Summit Drag Racing point standings for Top Fuel. Brackets, Tommy.
This is how they qualified, Ralph, but however, 2 cars can't make the first round. It'll be Jim Bailey taking on Jim Head instead of Reed, and it'll be Bobby Lagana filling in for Roger Dean up against Bruce Litton.
Louis Allison in the red car, Paul Romine in the right lane.
Romine gets a good light. You see the cylinder out, but that doesn't matter. His car's still pulling through. Louis having some problems, having to shut off, and Romine get the victory.
Clay Milliken in that stealth sponsor car. Still don't know what it is.
Deep stage by Milliken, and you can see the reaction time outstanding, 4:39 light. That'll give him the advantage over Todd, who's doing a nice job as well. 494 to a 498, good drag race.
Terry Youngster's learning every time down the track. All right, now the Wicks Filters car of Bruce Litton up against Bobby Lagana. And Litton, he is so strong this year. Gets him at the lights and gets him at the far end as well with a 284.9 mile-an-hour pass.
Jim Head up against Jim Bailey, one of the alternates getting the race right now. Jim Head, your number 1 qualifier coming into this race, gets the starting line advantage. Bailey's problems this season continue, smokes the tires. Jim Head, low ET first round, 489.
I turned 16 in '64, and I had a 55 Chevy and had to prove it was the fastest one in high school. I actually had one when I was 14. We'd hot rod it, and the day I turned 16, I got the drag strip, and I've been here ever since. It's the only really unlimited form of motorsport. It's the fastest motorsport in the world, and it was the intrigue. In all honesty, I'm a mechanic. I'm working on my car all the time.
All the time is right. If you want to find this workaholic, you needn't go further than the pit area. Jim spends most of his day tweaking his car for the next race and watching every dime in the checkbook.
We've always been broke. I was broke when I started. I'm broke today. We do more with less than anybody in the sport. I'm really proud of it. I'm a seat freak, quite frankly. Every office I have, my trailer, my lounge, everything has got a special seat. So I like to be comfortable.
Wearing two hats is difficult for most, but not for Jim Head, who says business and racing go hand in hand. Traveling, scheduling, and winning are all pages from Jim's book of success. But nothing gels until a driver adds one key ingredient: respect for the race car.
There's no question the race car scares me. Anybody that's not afraid of a top fuel car has got a screw loose. I mean, these things definitely get your attention, and you have to have a lot of respect for them. He is 72 years old and still winging it down a racetrack, and he's my hero. I don't know if I'll break his record, but as long as my health's good, I don't see any reason I won't keep driving these things for a long, long time.
Time for semifinal action here at the CarQuest Empire Nationals. Clay Millican up against Bruce Litton. That's the Wicks Filters car. Litton in the far lane. Clay Millican, the black car on your left.
Well, important round, Ralph, for the points battle. And Litton will take the victory, move on in the points chase. 482 to a quicker 481 by Millican.
Now Paul Romine in the CarQuest car up against Jim Head in the far lane. Oh, and Head red lights give the victory to Romine.
Lucky for Romine, he smokes the tires, tries to get it on down through there. Probably not seeing Head's red light, and take the victory, go to the final round.
Well, Bruce, you won Cordova the hard way. You have a chance of winning New York the right way. What's the difference?
I still believe in God. No, it's the same deal. We just go out and do our best, and the track's coming around, and you know, as long as we go down the track, I think we'll be okay. But you know, it's getting ready to get dark here pretty soon, so you don't know what we're going to get. We may get a little dew, or we just hope luck's on our side.
Coming down the return road in front of the crowd, you were kind of looking down, you were waving, but it seemed like your arms were flexed, you were pumping, you were saying something. You were jacked coming back down the return road.
You know, shoot, man, you don't understand how important this is. And, you know, we want to fight. You know, it's just that bad. And we're trying to keep that level of enthusiasm. And if I can keep the guys pumped up, because damn I am, and we need to keep that into this final round. You know, we've had our weekend hasn't been that good performance-wise. Bruce has been pretty consistent, so I think we're back on track, and I think the fans are going to get a good race.
If this top fuel final looks familiar, it should. Paul Romine and Bruce Litton have fought the battle of the filter cars in 2 finals already this year, and it's all tied up. This is the rubber-burning match. Who'll take the title? You'll know in a few short seconds. This portion of the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series is brought to you by Mopar Parts, the Mopar difference, and by the 4,000 CarQuest Auto Parts stores across North America. You'll find it at CarQuest. And by Holley, the heart and soul of performance.
When I was young,
Louis, when we see a top fueler at the finish line, we see these tires grow. I mean, here's a normal tire, but we actually see them, they may get this tall at the finish line. What causes that?
Well, the tires are designed by Goodyear to flex. They only have 1 layer of cord in the sidewall with a layer of rubber on each side, from my understanding. And it's designed to make the car hump up going down the racetrack. You need as much contact area leaving the starting line, but as it goes down the racetrack and you get downforce from the wing holding the car to the track, then you can effectively change your rear end ratio to a taller gear to make the car go the mile an hour that we do.
Is it scary?
No, not scary. It's too fast to be scary.
Welcome back to the CarQuest Empire Nationals. Let's take a look back at round 1 of Top Fuel, where Romine in the CarQuest car got the win. Semi-final action here. Bruce Litton in the Wicks Filters car gets a victory over Millican.
You can see that Litton's got the performance advantage today over Romine. Romine's car had a cylinder out in first round. So going into this final round, we'll have to see if Paul Romine's team can step up the performance of that car and pull out the victory.
There's a good look at Paul Romine strapped into the CarQuest machine. The engine sounding strong on Litton's entry.
Important race for Paul Romine, the CarQuest Empire Nationals, the CarQuest car, trying to get a victory for him in the final round up against Bruce Litton, the Wix Filters car. Like I said, Romine's going to have to really push the starting line to get the advantage, being a little down on horsepower today. Litton has to feel good, getting that thing running well without blowing it up. So definitely on a roll today.
So what can he do to push that at the line?
Well, you're going to have to try and concentrate, be a little more intense on the start line, and try and get a jump on and get a hole shot. This seems to be the hole shot nationals. We'll see if Paul Romine can do that.
We need one more, don't we?
Paul Romine thinks we need one more. Oh, he squeezed it a little too early, Ralph. Pulled the red eye, just like Jim had the round before, giving the win to Litton.
A 484, 257.8 miles an hour. Not that strong, but strong enough in the competition red lights.
Outstanding run for Litton, shutting it off at only 257 miles an hour. That definitely would have been in the 470 range.
You can see the red light came on. He tried to do just what you said he had to do, Tommy, and that was push it at the lights. Just pushed it a hair too much.
Yeah, just a little too much, giving the win to Litton.
Mr. Litton, you are on a roll.
Praise God. You know, thank you, God. I've been praying. You know, we do the best we can. You know, we have luck. You know, Paul's a great racer. This is about the Filters car, and you know, Paul's tough. And you know, I've said it before. You know, you got to do your best to beat him, and you got to have some luck too.
Tell me about the run.
Did a normal procedure. We put a pre-burst stage together, and. You know, I thought I seen his red light, and then I looked up and seen the wind light, and so I just go ahead and clicked it off. And, you know, just trying to make sure there was no oil on the track, you know, and the Wix Filter car, you know, he come through, you know, what can I say about the Wix Filters and Lucas Oil and United Express Line, Renegade, Spectre One, and my company, you know, and golly, what about my guys? You know, they work their heart out. You know, it's all them.
Well, the celebration at the far end of the racetrack, and they have earned it. As you take a look at the points now, Bruce Litton closes in on Paul Romine. Great battle brewing there.
Boy, Pro Modified Freddie Hahn has taken an outstanding lead, 433 points over Quayne Scott, who came from 5th to 2nd.
Vaughn Smith and the Nitro Fish slips in the funny car standings as Scott Winnie moves up and Jimmy Rector closes from 3rd.
Jay Turner is making the Nitro Harley points race a runaway. Turner, 526 points, is leaving Team Mancuso behind.
In Pro Stock, Ron Miller's your points leader, but John Yoke slips back to 3rd. Champions on the day, Quayne Stott, your winner in Pro Modified.
Jimmy Rector getting back in the winner's circle after his victory earlier this year in that funny car division.
And the Screaming Eagle Nitro Harley belongs to Jay Turner as the Bulldog grabs another one.
Ron Miller making it 3 in a row in Pro Stock.
And the kings of the sport, the victory in Top Fuel goes to Bruce Litton in the Battle of the Filter Cars. Well, the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Tour is off and racing again. Catch more of the action on www.country.com, your personal source for all things country. Our next TV show is next week, the CarQuest Northern Nationals from Mid-Michigan Motorplex. And if you're in the area of the New England Dragway, come check out the North American Nationals in Epping, New Hampshire. For Aaron Polburn and Tommy Johnson Jr., I'm Ralph Sheheen. So long from the CarQuest Empire Nationals. We'll see you next week.